Hello, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be solving another new puzzle. And today's puzzle is the level 2 Hanayama Box puzzle. Now it was designed by Japanese designer Yuta Akira. And being a level 2 difficulty, that is a level 2 out of a possible 6 on the Hanayama difficulty scale, means that it shouldn't be too much of a challenge today in comparison to some of the other ones that we've done. Previously last week, or the last puzzle that we solved was the Rotor puzzle, which was a level 6 out of 6, which we then placed on our leaderboard of hardest to easiest puzzles here on the top shelf. So one of the harder ones that we've done. Whereas previous level 2s that we've done, we have got the dot puzzle in here and the harmony puzzle in here. So the harmony being the 3rd easiest that we've done so far, and the dot being the 11th easiest, or the 29th hardest puzzle that we've done. No, 30th hardest puzzle that we've done. Anyway, the aim of today is the usual 3 things. We're going to attempt to disassemble the box puzzle, we're going to attempt to then reassemble it back into its original position, and then we are going to place it on our leaderboard of hardest to easiest puzzles done so far. Let's get straight on with it. Okay, so here is the box puzzle. Nice and conveniently, we have a huge big start sign here. So obviously the ring starts in this position. And as you would expect, our aim is to get from this position to this position here, and we're getting this ring out of this box. And I imagine that a lot of the solution for this is going to involve everything that we could see on the box, which is this groove thing here, or this sort of slightly cut out part of the ring, and these grooves that must very nicely fit through as we're going around here. So for instance, like this move here, we've almost definitely got to do that move first actually. So this is clearly going to be a series of moves around this box using all these grooves in here until we can separate the ring from there. So there isn't actually a sign like finish or end, so that's going to make it harder for us to spot which way we go next. So right, I'm trying to keep, so we've come from here to here because that is the only way through to there. Where do we go next? We can come across to the other side. We can then go down. Ooh, we can go across to there. And then we can spin around to pretty much wherever we want, like there. And then, is that done? And then like there. Wow, that's probably the, yeah, that might be the quickest one we've ever done. Jesus, that was quick. I guess maybe the hard, or maybe the potentially tricky part was going across the puzzle rather than just moving around it. But yeah, well, that was very short and sweet. I probably don't even need to skip through any single part of that. Yeah, box puzzle, done. Okay, and we'll immediately attempt to put it back together. One mistake I have made is in not making note of which bit I took it off first, which could prove to be an issue because there's a lot of different ways on. I have a feeling that I came off and then went on pretty much exactly opposite it, so like maybe there and there, possibly. Ah, there we go. That took a lot longer putting it back together than I expected, but that's a nice little puzzle. I think I have a suspicion we just did the perfect route first time, because there is a lot of different variants with that, and it is quite hard to track putting it back together. So it's possible that we fluked that perfectly first time, but we've done it. We have disassembled it. We have eventually put it back together. And now there's only one thing left to do, which is to place it on our leaderboard. But box puzzle done. There it is. The box puzzle has been disassembled extremely quickly and then reassembled a little bit slower, about 10-15 minutes to put it back together, which was longer than I expected after I took it apart instantly. But as I just said at the end of putting it back together, I have a feeling that I nailed that in the perfect order pretty much first time. It's going to take a little bit of practicing and playing to figure out whether that was the case, but yeah, I hope I did. That would be probably a first time ever. Pick up a puzzle, solve it perfectly, put it back down, job done. The big mistake that I made was not keeping a record of where I separated those two pieces. Now, that in itself took a lot of different, well, essentially just took a lot of trial and error of trying, was it this one, and then going through here. The tiny bit of information I think I did remember that was that as we were coming off, we sort of went from being on 2 of the whole box things to then 1 to then straight off. And there was only a few places on the box where you can go on 1 and then directly over another. So that made it a bit easier, but it still took a fair amount of time. 10 minutes again is absolutely no time at all in comparison to what some of these other puzzles have taken us. 10 minutes is super quick, like super quick. Regardless of the 2 minutes to take apart, 10 minutes to put it back together. 12 minutes total is one of the quickest, if not the quickest puzzle that we've ever done. Now I have a feeling I say that quite often, so whether we are getting faster times or whether I'm just forgetting how long previous puzzles have taken, I do not know. So the final thing we need to do is place it on our leaderboard of easiest puzzles done so far, hardest puzzles done so far, and everything in between, going from left to right, bottom to top, easiest to most difficult. And there's no question we are going to start at the very bottom and compare one to the other until we find the right slot for the box puzzle. Now if we were just looking at taking it apart, then we would probably be, essentially just the only question would be, is it easier or harder than the loop? Because taking it apart was definitely harder than taking the flag apart, for me personally. But putting it back together did prove to be a little bit more of a challenge, and I said, I'm not sure if I got lucky just yet. So is it easier or harder than the loop? It is harder. Is it easier or harder than the flag? It is harder, but only just. The next question, we come across a fellow level 2 in the harmony puzzle. Now, is the box easier or harder than the harmony? Now, this is a question of something, but I'm not quite sure what I mean. Whether knowing how the puzzle solves makes it easier or harder. So what I mean by that is the harmony puzzle, I didn't know how that solved. As soon as you find the way through for that little note to go through the bigger piece, you've pretty much done it. But the box puzzle, I knew how it was going to solve, how it was going to separate from the very start. Even before I opened the box, you can see on the box from the images, there's grooves in each edge of the box, and there's a similarly shaped groove or fitting through the grooves in the ring piece. Now that routine to separating the ring from the box is longer than the actual moves that are involved in solving the harmony puzzle, but you have to find those moves. Those moves aren't obvious to you at first glance. And usually I say that if you know how a puzzle solves, you're 90% of the way to actually solving it. However, I'm going to go against my own laws, rules, wisdom, for lack of a better term, and I'm going to say that the box puzzle is harder than the harmony puzzle. The next one we're looking at is the hashtag puzzle, which is a level 3. And I actually think that the box puzzle is harder than the hashtag. However, the thing with the hashtag is I made a note of which piece connected with which piece when I was taking it apart, so putting it back together it made it much easier. So maybe that difference in taking it apart is going to affect it in a way that it shouldn't. However, the box puzzle is going to sit above the hashtag puzzle, but it is not going to sit above the Ogier puzzle, which is the next one up, which is also a level 3. So we have a new 5th easiest puzzle that we've done so far. So out of 41, that means it's in 36th place. So there we go. Short and sweet this week, relatively speaking. Thank you very much for being here. If you want to see me solve more Hanayama puzzles like the box puzzle and then the step-by-step solutions to each and every one of them, then make sure you stick around and click my face here to subscribe, and I will see you next time. Peace!